Alright folks, this is the last part of Memories of Mcmana. It's going to be jam-packed and this is where everything comes together. Now I did warn you this is going to be a little bit spicy and I meant it, so let's get into it. So here I am just stood in Stormwind and I think I'm getting a repair or something like that. And notice anything? The Fairy Tale Anime Guild has stolen my tabard design. Now look, I'm not saying I have some sort of copyright over a pink tabard with a white heart on it, okay? But what's the chances? You know what I mean? Like, what's the chances that we just so happened to have the same taste in design? About 0.1%. That's the chance. They stole the tabard. I mean, how unoriginal can you be? Karma would hit them like a truck, because after all they've done, the silencing, the refusing to talk, the poaching of members, etc. One day I was just playing the game, and I got a whisper from the main tank and some of the officers in Fairy Tale. And they invited me to a group, and I was like, oh, finally, someone from this guild who will talk to me. And I thought they were going to be like, okay, look, let's like neutralize, let's come to an agreement or something, but no. They told me something that absolutely blew my mind. They told me that their guildmaster, Seal, had ninja looted the entirety of their guild bank. And I was like, hang on a minute. You're telling me that the guildmaster of a guild who has been going around accusing me of being a ninja looter has actually ninja looted his own guild bank? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. Can you believe, folks, can you believe the hypocrisy of some people? Imagine going around accusing an innocent guy of being a ninja looter just because you don't like him, because you got a chip on your shoulder, while being a ninja looter yourself. I mean, what? It's like a serial killer saying you're too violent. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was one of those things where I was angry, but laughing at the same time. It's like the audacity of these nerds is cretinous. You know, it's honestly award-winning, the hypocrisy. But anyway, they apologised to me, and I thought I really respected them for that, because I think, you know, if you back the wrong horse and then you realise your mistakes and then you apologise for it, I think that takes courage. And so I was very cool with the vast majority of Fairy Tale's members after that. Shortly after this, the guild collapsed. And I was vindicated. But what surprised me was that you would think then, if there's a guy who's ninja looted his entire guild bank, and his entire guild has gone against him, that no one would want anything to do with him, right? Much like how no one wanted anything to do with me, despite the fact I was innocent. But what surprised me was, this guy actually became a refugee in what was at the time the realm's largest raiding guild, which was called Potento. Now, I had no interactions with this Potento guild up to this point, but this is where I met Balduril. And Balduril was a druid on our realm, fantastic fellow, and he basically explained to me, listen, you need to know what's going on this realm, because this is deeper than you think. This is like some fucking Illuminati, Deus Ex bullshit right here. And I was like, what's going on? And he says, okay, so look, you know how you've been hard done by Fairy Tale, right? And I'm like, yeah, I have. Well, look, Fairy Tale, they're just the bitches. They're not even the main boss. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, no. Potento, they're the real deal. They're the puppet masters, right? And I'm like, what? Who are these guys? And they tell me, okay, look, they're an ultra serious guild. Very, very hard. Like, if you oppose them, they want you off the realm. They control the subreddit, they control the Discord, and I'm like, come on man, you're being overly dramatic. And he's like, oh really? Why do you think that Seal has been given refugee status in Potento? Because he's their poodle. And I was like, oh my word. So I do some investigating myself, and everything that this guy was saying was true. And so the way Zandalar Tribe was ran was that you had a cliche of elites, Potento, and some other guilds like Praxis and the now defunct Fairy Tale. It's like a gang, right? You know, gangs don't say when someone's excluded, oh, please, I need some evidence for this. No, they just say, okay, well, I'm in the gang, you're not, so bye-bye. Very, very tribal. And it really baffled me, and it sent me down a massive rabbit hole where all of this would eventually be uncovered. You know, back then it was a conspiracy theory. Now it's a well-accepted fact. Everyone knows this. And, you know, from then on, I started to notice that Potento, some of the guildies in that guild, were being very, very rude to me from then on. And keep in mind, I have no idea who these people even are. Yeah, so here I was just stood in the middle of Stormwind, and I remember I was taking a big fat shit, and then I came back, checked the chat log, and there's just people being rude and spitting on me because I don't have an epic mount yet. It's like, oh well, geez, thanks guys. I have no idea who these people even are. But yeah, so thus began that rabbit hole. But anyway, now that I had been vindicated for not being a ninja looter, I could now do some raids finally, and so here's me doing some Onyxias and with Mint, and as you can see I'm stood on top of the corpse of the drunk Shaunty, who once again is somehow dead, despite being a mage in Onyxia. How can you die as a mage in Onyxia? You have 2 ice blocks as a frost mage, it should be impossible, but there he is, drunk and clumsy as always. And here's a really amazing screenshot. So yeah, Nixia's on like 1%, there's only a handful of us alive. We're like, come on, we've got to do this. Of course, Shaunty's dead again. And you know, we've got to be like, come on, we got to do this. It really is like a coin flip. Because I think all the healers are dead as well, as you can see. It's just us and a bunch of melee DPS. But of course we do, and it was, yeah. I really like those clutch kills, right, where it looks like, oh, you don't know, and then you actually get it, and it's like, oh, what a relief. And as you can see here, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What are we doing raiding at 3 o'clock in the morning? I have no idea. And to celebrate my first Onyxia kill, I thought that I would go around and teabag Shaunty for his absolute uselessness. And we would pretty much run Onyxia every week after this, and this is the week where it was me as the raid leader, a guy called Meglin as the off-tank, and Baldril, who was the main tank druid, Feral. Best druid tank on the realm, by the way. And this was an amazing run because right, guess what dropped? So I'm a mage, the mage helmet dropped, you can see it there. Meglin was a warrior, the warrior helmet dropped, right? Baldril, druid tank, guess what? Druid tank necklace best in slot dropped, and you're not going to believe this. We actually won them all, fair and square by roll. It was as if we did ninja loot. Our luck was so unbelievable. And this is one of my favourite screenshots in all of Classic, probably my favourite screenshot, because this is us in the early hours of the morning. As you can see, we've all got our helmets. Obviously you can't see Baldril's necklace, right, but he's got it on. And we're just celebrating the loot that we got, because what are the chances of that, right? What's the chances that the 3 guildies that are in your raid all win the items that they desperately wanted? I mean, what's the chances of that? Honestly, it was as if it was like divine intervention. It was like, okay, you've had to deal with Fairy Tail and their bullshit for so long. Here's a nice little gift for you. But if you know me, you'll know that good luck and good times don't last for very long, and this is where we get on to what I'm gonna call the experiment. So now that Mint had been vindicated, we kind of went on a bit of a recruitment spree because I wanted more people to raid. Because the only people who were really in our raid team was me, Baldril, Meglin, sometimes Ginny, who was a warrior, Girold, but even that was up for debate because he was living in Russia and his time zone was completely different to ours. So, you know, we really wanted to, we were sick of filling like 70% of our raids with pugs, right? Because pugs, I don't think I need to say anything about that, right? Like, we wanted some really solid members. And so we went on a recruitment spree, and one of the biggest pains to find was healers, right? And so we went around recruiting healers. And one of these healers was a Night Elf priest. Now, I'm not going to say their character's name, and you'll notice that I've censored it out in every screenshot here, because I feel so embarrassed for them that I don't want to reveal the name. We'll call them the priest, okay? So let me tell you something about this priest, right? So she was Swedish, and she was almost 30, right? She's like ancient, all right? And this priest, they were a hardcore social justice warrior. Now listen, I know that the term social justice warrior is overused today. Everyone is accused of being a social justice warrior, right? It's like, oh, you believe in public healthcare, oh, you must be a social justice warrior. You know, oh, you believe that people should have human rights, you must be a social justice warrior, right? People take this too far, but no, listen to me. When I say this priest was a social justice warrior, I mean hardcore left. I'm talking like, this is the sort of person who would call themselves a feminist and then says like all men are trash or something like that, right? Like, this is, I am not joking with you. If you were in the guild at this point, you know what I'm saying is true. This person made Joseph Stalin look like a right-winger, okay? I'm talking like ultra left. I have to like drill that into your brain because I am not over-exaggerating here when I say that. Another thing about this priest is that they had a lot of simps, okay? It was like a Twitch streamer, in a way. They weren't a streamer, but it was like they were. They had these guys following them around who would give them boosts and give them gold, right? They went around saying, "My queen," I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. You know, most people would say, okay, well, if there's someone who has such political beliefs that are so polar opposite to yours, you might as well just not bother talking with them. But I don't operate that way, because I think you learn a lot about people and ideas if you're exposed to them. And so rather than just exclude this person and say, sorry, I completely disagree with you, get out of here, right? I thought, no, actually, why don't I befriend this person? Why don't I get to know them and understand their ideas? And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll learn something from them, right? And of course, we get a priest, right? I mean, that's what I really wanted, right? But you get the point. And I had a theory with these ladies who are always like, you know, I hate men or whatever. And my theory was that that's just a facade. That's just a shell, right? All these hardcore feminists who are like, I hate men, blah, 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 blah. In reality, it's like, nah. They crave to be a trad wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they're really like. You know, it's just like that type of bloke who constantly goes on about how he can't stand ladies, but in reality really just wants one. Am I wrong? Well, I thought, you know what? I'm going to keep this person in the guild, I'm going to befriend them, and let's conduct a little experiment, shall we? And as you can see here, here I am raiding Undercity, and they're healing me. And I really like this video, by the way. I've used it a lot. I think it's some really awesome PvP videos. It's like something you'd see in like one of those classic WoW ads from 2004, right? I don't even know what we're doing here. But yeah, and so I wanted to see if my theory was true. And so what I did was, I was always like friendly with them, and I welcomed them in the guild, but when it came to politics, anything politics, I would never concede to them. I'd never give any ground whatsoever, and this confused them, because, you know, in their mind, people who are even the slightest bit more conservative than them, they must be evil people, right? That's what they think. But here's someone who's being friendly to them and welcoming them, but isn't agreeing with them, and this sort of broke their mind a little bit, because they didn't know how to deal with that. Because they're used to being surrounded by blokes who will just say, yes, of course, anything, yes, of course, right? You know the type I'm talking about. They didn't know how to process someone who was polite, but said no. And so, over time, as time progressed, what do you think, folks? What do you think? Was my theory right, or was my theory wrong? Well,
Mcmana, you have a certain way of being that makes me just want to be good for you and do as you say. Even though I find it extremely frustrating, deep down I feel like I want to be obedient for you. I can't help it. You just keep me from leveling all the time by being so irresistible. Mcmana, I find you really charismatic, even though I try to deny it. Mcmana, I admire the fact you don't care about other people that much. Mcmana, you're extremely interesting to talk to. I'll do whatever you say, sir. All night if you want me to. I just want to be good for you.
And this goes on and on and on. They went crazy, asking me for my phone number, giving me very, very overt, strange compliments, and even inviting me to live with them. You know, even Balduril was like, geez, you need to calm down. And Balduril's American, he's surrounded by lunatics 24/7. If he says to calm down, geez, you better calm down. I mean, it got to the point where they were just becoming obsessive. It got to the point where you could literally ask them to do anything and they would. I mean, here, for example, I said, how much gold have you got exactly, right? And they said, I've got 18 gold. I said, no. How much gold, silver, and copper have you got? The exact amount. And they said, I got 18 gold, 23 silver, and 83 copper. I said, I want it. I want every copper out of your bags. Folks, they gave me it. Can you believe it? They actually gave me every... Folks, keep in mind, this person was being given gold by blokes, simps, right? Being given boosts. It's opposite day. I've turned the tables on its head now. It's me getting the gold, you see? I mean... Here's a great one. This is my favorite, right? They say, Please, can I have this shirt? I would be so grateful to you. Folks, they're begging for a pink Made by Mcmana shirt, right? Hey, this is the only one that I can't blame them on, right? I mean, come on, who wouldn't want a pink Made by Mcmana shirt? You know, here was this person who was apparently a hardcore man-hating feminist, right? But in reality, this is what they're really like, right? And so, yeah, it turns out my theory was 100% true. Let this be a lesson to all blokes out there, especially any soys who happen to come across this. If you think you're going to be a smart guy and go around simping for ladies, you know, giving them gold, giving them free stuff, giving them boosts, whatever, they're just going to think you're an absolute massive fucking loser, because deep down what they really want is the exact opposite. And if anything, this, what I've just shown you, really just goes to prove that. Absolutely hilarious. Alright, now this is a really good screenshot. Now I call this one separated but still together. What this one represents is you look at it and you're thinking like, oh, it's just another sky again, right? But no, look, the clouds, they're very similar, right? They're the same thing even, but they're separate, right? And the point is that you can be far away from someone, but still with them, right? Like, for example, let's say you have a family member or a friend who's died, right? Well, they might not be around anymore, but you're still there, right? Like, they're still mentally linked to you, right? Like, you're still on the same page. And that's what this represents. It's like, you know, let's say the cloud on the left is life and the cloud on the right is death, right? Well, sure, they might be separate, right? There's that big void separating them, but they're still together, you know? This here was the first and last ever Mint Guild meeting, and we invited numerous people from Mint to our guild hall, which was actually just like an empty building in the Dwarven district. And we also invited a bunch of people from guilds who we wanted to ally with, right, to make it easier to raid and PvP with, etc. Went on for like 4 hours or something, and we were just talking a bunch of shit. But you know, it really was fun, weirdly enough. Alright, so here I am, and I'm in Zul'Farrak, and I'm doing the Grave Blizzard Farm Mage money technique. If you're a mage, you'll know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, I got these whispers completely out of the blue, from numerous different people, and I was like, hey, this is what they said. One of them was like, man, I found you cool, but then I found out you're a racist and a sexist. Another one said, Mcmana used to be cool, now he's mad, changed my mind. Like, the same sort of whispers, but from completely different people, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? What is going on? And it turned out the priest had left the guild because they felt a bit stupid, right? Because remember, I'm this evil person apparently, right? They're not meant to like me. I'm like some scumbag, right? But there they are, like, they're just giving me these endless compliments, and they're finding me like a nice person, and they're like, oh, you know, they don't know what to do about it, and so they're kind of like hating themselves. So they leave in frustration. And to sort of redeem themselves, because remember, these people think in like a false morality, right? So they think they've done evil by siding with evil, so they need to redeem themselves by denouncing the evil, right? It's like self-flagellation. And so they went around saying that I'm every sin under the sun, right? Like I'm a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. And so I started getting whispers from people who she was telling this to, and I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute, fellas, what are you talking about? And some of these were really rude. You know, I was like, gee, what have I done to I've never spoke to these people before. So I said, as I always do, I say, look, listen, I don't know what you've heard, but it's wrong. Let's have a chat and let's sort this out. And at first they were a bit adamant, but eventually I got them on. And I explained the situation, and they laughed their ass off, basically. And we were cool after that. They never had a problem with any of these people again, because they realised after talking to me for about 5 minutes, okay, I'm being sincere, I'm being legitimate. And it just goes to show, like, what shocks me about people in the modern world is how easy people change their minds about people who they've never spoke to and never met with no evidence. You know, that's what surprises me so much. It's like you can literally call anyone anything and people will believe it. Anyway, so eventually got sick of raiding, right? You can only raid like Molten Core and Elixir once a week. When you're not doing that, you need other things to do. And so we started making these little events, right? And so here we are, okay? And as you can see, we have a bunch of people. And there was this guy, this level 1, who came on our server. And to this day, I have no idea who this person is, right? But he called himself Figget, right? F-I-G-G-O-T. Figgot, okay? And what happened was, he came around and he was starting like a cult. He was saying like, listen, I need your help. You need to gather as many people as possible. I have an important message to give, right? And so I did. I went around Stormwind, I made a raid, and I invited everyone in Stormwind. Now, of course, 75% of people, the NPCs, they were like, fuck you, I'm not interested, right? But there was actually a lot of people who came. And so Figgot started doing this speech, okay, about how like the world's gonna end and stuff, and I got everyone to kneel before him. But the problem was, I went around saying like, praise Figgot, right? And a bunch of people who weren't involved in this, well, you can guess what they thought I was trying to say, right? And so I got whispers saying, what the fuck? Reported. I was like, no, hey, no, his name is literally Figgot. Look, you can see it there. I'm not trying to say anything else. That's literally the guy's name. But loads of people were like, you know, you're a terrible person. It's like, hell, that's his name. That's his name. What do you want me to say? But this event was a lot of fun, right? We went under Stormwind and it was just crazy. Like, and the weirdest thing is, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. How did we manage to get this many people to kneel before a random level 1 called Lord Figgot at 1 o'clock in the morning? I have no idea. I have no idea how we pulled this shit off, but yeah, crazy. But that wasn't the only event we did, so as you can see here, by the way, I had to change the tab out because Fairy Tail stole the design, but hey, whatever. So, look where I am. Guess where I am. Can you guess? You're probably thinking like, oh, maybe you're in like Elwyn Forest or something like that, right? But actually, I'm out of bounds. That's right. I made a group, and I know Azeroth like the back of my hand, obviously, and I was like, hey, who wants to go and discover some secret places out in the world? Like, for example, Quel'Thalas, right? The Blood Elf starting zone. Not a lot of people know this, but it's technically in Classic. Now, of course, it doesn't look anything like it does in TBC, right? But there's like a tower and it's called Quel'Thalas. And I said, anyone who joins my group, I'll take you there. And these were the 2 first people. They were called Judge Quentin. Judge Quentin, let me tell you about Judge Quentin. There was 3 judges. All of them were Danish guys. These guys were legends. And anyway, yeah, I made a group. And we went off out of bounds, because you can go under Stormwind and then you're out of bounds. And we circled the entirety of the Eastern Kingdoms. More and more people joined us as we started to get closer to Quel'Thalas. And you know, I look at this screenshot and I think this is what WoW is about. WoW is not about the raids. WoW is not even about PvP, if you can believe it. WoW is about the people. And it's this, you know, when I think of classic WoW, it's things like this and the Lord Figgot thing that I think about, to be completely honest with you. And so, yeah, here we are. We take a little, you know, we were doing this for like 4 hours at my end. So yeah, here we are taking a bit of a break to rest our fingers from holding down the W key. But, I mean, you could just use auto run if you're not a noob, right? But whatever. And here we are taking another break. Eventually we got like a raid full of people together. And here we are, we're almost there now. Right at the top of the Eastern Kingdoms. And there it is, you can see it there. I don't know why I've got no screenshots close to it. Maybe I was paranoid of being banned back then, right? Thinking that if you took a screenshot when you're there, it would register the location. I don't bloody know. But yeah, over there, it's actually called Quel'Thalas, and it's a tower. You can't go in it, I don't think. I can't remember. There's no NPCs, there's no quests, but it's kind of like the start of the, like, what would have been the High Elf started zone if they would have added the race in Classic for Alliance. And it's actually there, it's actually in the game, and yeah, you just go under Stormwind, circle around the Eastern Kingdoms, make your way there, and it is actually there. It's crazy. So much fun doing stuff like this. Here's another modern art piece. I call this one Outnumbered, right? So as you can see, there's loads of trees everywhere, right? Loads of trees, so many of them. And in the corner there's just this little puddle of water, right? And it's like, if the trees and the water had a fight, the trees would win because they outnumber them, right? Like, the water's got no chance, right? It's fighting for survival. But the point is that you can, in life, you can be outnumbered, right? But here's the thing. What do trees need to grow? Water, right? So it's like, without the water, the trees are nothing. So the trees can outnumber the water, but at the end of the day, it's the water that keeps the trees alive. So the point is, in life, you can be outnumbered, right? You can be unappreciated or whatever, but without you, what is everyone else, right? Like, sure, you can be on the losing side of something or whatever, but without you being the counterbalance, what are they? What is everyone else, right? Think about that. That's a deep message. Like, you might have to rewind this part and play it back like 5 times before you understand the message behind this screenshot. Like, this is like really high IQ stuff, okay? This is me just with some gnomes chilling out in the middle of Stormwind again. You'll notice that I'm doing a lot of weird social events at this point because I'm really, really bored of the game. I mean, you can only raid Molten Core so many times before wanting to fall asleep, right? Now, at this point, I was getting very bored of the game, right? I mean, this screenshot here, I'm literally going around whispering random people if they prefer Jaffa Cakes or Jammy Dodgers, and because the vast majority of the people on the server aren't from the UK, they had no idea what the hell I was talking about. So I was so bored with the game at this point. I had done the raids, the honor system wasn't coming out anytime soon, I was tired. So I ended up going on Warzerg to level up, and yeah, again, I don't know what the hell, like how this happened. I ended up getting like 5 people to lie down and quote unquote dream outside of the inn in the crossroads. And it started off with just 3 people, and then it was 5 people, and then there was loads of people. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. We're just talking a bunch of shit lying down outside the inn for no reason. I don't know what the bloody hell we were doing, but it was funny. Something that annoys me about WoW and always has done, and this only started happening around Cataclysm, is guys like en masse playing as ladies. Now, it annoys me because I just think your avatar, like your character, what you choose to be in WoW, you gotta remember it represents you. You control the character, it's meant to be you. Now, I'm not saying I'm a gnome with pink hair, right? But I think Mcmana's a good representation of me, right? He's a gnome. Gnome players, they got a sense of humour, they're funny, they don't take themselves too seriously, they're confident in themselves. I think that's me. But I don't get why someone chooses to represent themselves as like a fucking night elf lady, right? When they're actually a guy called like Derek or Steve or something like. Why would you want to be represented as a night elf lady? What's wrong with you? And so I asked this guy, Trellin. And by the way, Trellin, I know you subscribed, so you better have an answer for me, because this was not a satisfactory answer. I asked Trellin, why'd you play a lady? And he said, look at it like this. Would you rather stare at a hot ass or a man cleavage when you're going to look at a character for 100 hours? And Trellin, 2 things. First, 100 hours, you casual. You're going to be looking at this for over 1,000 hours. Number 2, when I made Mcmana, I wasn't thinking to myself, oh, I need to make sure my character's ass looks good. You know why? Because I don't look at my character's ass. Because I'm not a freak. I'm looking at my enemies who I'm going to crush. I'm out there, grinding honor. I've not got time to look at my character's ass, man. What's wrong with you? I hate it. And you ask, do your own investigative journalism. You ask any guy who plays a woman why they do it, that's the answer you'll get. That's just freaky, man. That's some players versus perverts level shit right there. And there's my response. I don't want to look at pixel bums, my friend. Damn straight, because there's something wrong with you if you do. You need to get a real woman. Okay, so this is where the honor system came out, and remember, my main goal in WoW was to get Grand Marshal, so this was a big deal. So here I am in Hillsbrad, Torren Mill versus South Shore. This is where everyone on the server said, this is where we're going to go, we're going to do PvP, we're going to grind each other for honor here. And I was up, I shit you not, for about 20 hours, okay? And at the end of the 20 hours, I had over 4,000 honorable kills. Well, it was like 3,000, 4,000, I don't know what the hell it was, whatever, it was a lot. And in fact, it was the most on the entire realm, possibly even the most in Europe, okay? Let that sink in. But here's the thing, I didn't really know how the system worked. I thought that you just got honourable kills, and the more honourable kills you got, the better, right? That's like monkey brain thinking. But it's not like that, it's all about honour. If you kill the same player like 10 times, they don't give you any honour. And if you're in a big raid, you're only getting like 1 or 2 honour points anyway. So I'm up for 20 hours, killing 4,000 horde. The next day I wake up, I've got like 5 honour. It was a complete and utter waste of time, and after that I was like, yeah, you know what, fuck this, I'll wait until Battlegrounds come out. I mean, if you had a graph of my PvP activity, it'd be up here, and then it would just be like a flat line, right? I went all in, and then I was like, forget it. So I had to wait until Battlegrounds came out. and Blizzard being Blizzard, everything was time gated, so I was bored out of my mind. At this point, I had done raids, I was bored with them, I had done events, bored with them. I was just coming on like once a week to take the piss at this point. Now I was getting pissed off at this point for so many people making fun of me for not having my epic mount, so I went out there mining at 6 o'clock in the morning. Look at this big fat rich thorium vein, I'm getting arcane crystals out the moolah. I wanted that mount. Here's the thing though, because I leveled in Elwyn Forest, I wasn't even honoured with the gnomes. The gnomes didn't even like me, so I didn't get that 100 gold discount, so I had to get rune cloth, give it to my own people, just to get a discount on the Mcmana Strider. Can you believe this? I had to grind with my own faction, like, come on. But anyway, I eventually got it, so people stopped making fun of me. Look, I'm a frugal man. I don't care about your earthly golds, okay? I'm not interested in your rides, okay? I'm interested in the people. I'm a man of the people. People, come on. But let me tell you, being a mage, it is pretty easy to make money. I mean, I was just hanging around the plague lands, and all of a sudden this hunter comes up to me and he's like, hey, I'll give you 10 gold if you give me 6 stacks of water. So I was like, okay, sure. I handed him over. I even ripped him off. I didn't even give him 6 stacks. One of these stacks isn't even full. And he still gave me 10 gold. 10 gold for pressing a button 6 times. I mean, that is a bargain. Right, now this is me showcasing how predictable the people of Zandalar Tribe are. So I say, Mcmana contest. Whisper me who the worst player on the realm is. I'll announce the winner who has the most votes. And I set a DND, right after this message that says, if you said Mcmana, you're predictable and lame. Guess what happened? Mcmana, obviously. That's how predictable they are. Such a boring realm. And this was peak times when people were popping the Onyxia head to get the buff, and look at how many people there are. We had some people who used to play on MacBooks, right? And I'm not talking like the new MacBooks, the good ones. I'm talking like the crap ones, right? Like the underpowered Intel i3 MacBooks, right? And when they would come here, their game would crash, and they couldn't come back in until everyone had left. Right, so I felt quite sorry for them. A couple of days ago I had a polite gentleman compliment me on the Players vs Pervert series, where I basically went around and hunted down ERPers on Zandalar Tribe, and another person shortly after asked me if it was real or if it was staged. But the truth is, no, it was absolutely 100% real, and I still have the raw gameplay captures here. Yeah, what happened was, spoiler alert, but what happened was, I found out that there was a weird guild, a group, whatever the hell you want to call them, of ERPers on the realm, and I didn't like it because ERP has no place on WoW, simple as that. And so I followed them around undercover. Keep in mind they were doing this publicly, and I reported them, and they got banned. It was the one time Blizzard actually listened to me, I think. And so I actually did Zandalar Tribe, the realm, a massive favour. I mean, what else is there to say, really? No, it was 100% real. I highly recommend, I highly recommend people watch it, because one of the things that annoyed me about Players vs Perverts is how few people actually saw it. Like, no one knows about the massive war that essentially went on in the shadows on Zandalar Tribe between me, a select few members of Mint, and these strange perverts who were doing these ridiculous acts in public. Hardly anyone knows about that. It's like hidden lore of the realm or something. But yeah, so spread it, please, because it's 100% real. I promise you. Anyway, at this point, I'm bored with the game, and honestly, I wasn't even playing. I was playing like once a week at this point. And this was the last thing I did on Zandalar Tribe. I came on, and I got a group together, and I said right, everyone, come to Ironforge in the Forlorn Cavern. We're all gonna die from running out of breath. And I managed to convince 8 people to just go in the lake and actually die. And I don't know why we did this. I honestly, I'm looking at this screenshot and I'm like, why did we do this? What is wrong with us? But yeah, this was the last thing I did on Zandalar Tribe, because afterwards I moved realm to Hydraxian Waterlords. And the reason for that, here I am. So I think this is the first screenshot I've got of Hydraxian Waterlords. And the reason I did this, it wasn't because, contrary to popular belief, the plop, the mafia was getting me down. It was honestly because I was getting bored of Zandalar Tribe. The people were shit. They were boring. They were lame. I'm out here trying to do all these cool events with people, and it's like, jeez, everyone's such a bore. And so I just said, you know what, look, I just want to get Grand Marshal and quit the game, right? I want to settle down. And I wanted a guild and a realm that was quiet, and I knew people who played on Hydraxian. So I went there, I had a look around, and it was a nice realm. It was quiet, right? It's kind of like a retirement home, right? Like, think of Zandalar Tribe like a college. Everyone's an idiot, right? But it's full of energy, right? Hydraxian's like a retirement home. It's quiet, but everyone's polite, right? And, you know, it's just like relaxing. And I wanted a retirement home, and this was my retirement home. And I joined this guild. It was fantastic. Got raids, no need for pugs, no need to recruit. Everything was taken care of, and it was like a dream. And everyone on the realm was just so polite and just, oh, it was just so much better. It really was just so much better. So yeah, if you've watched the road to rank 14, you already know about the journey to get Grand Marshal. I mean, it's a long journey, it's complicated, the system is annoying, there's so many annoying people, but if you manage to get in a good honor mafia, you're set, and it's easy sailing, as long as you can trust them. This is a cool screenshot though. It's okay, I can't remember if we lost all 5 bases and we were just doing like posing in this screenshot to relax, or if we won all 5 bases and we were doing it to take the piss. I'm gonna say we won all 5 bases and we were just posing, but yeah, this is a pug, and yeah, it's just it's a cool screenshot to see a bunch of random people this organised for a screenshot, apart from that one gnome in the back who's completely ruining it, but whatever. You ever wondered what 40 people in one crater looks like? This is what it looks like. Yeah, this is back in the days of very organised AVs, if anyone remembers them in the early PvP days. Well, yeah, that was crazy. And this is me and my honor mafia, and every single person in this screenshot is an absolute legend. I have only good things to say about these people. I'm a commander here, so it's going a long way. I know I'm not going to show too many screenshots of ranking, because I've made an entire series about it, right? And I'd just be repeating myself. And this is us again, and we're just taking the piss by walking to capture the flag. Like, we're on like 2-3 at this point. We're just completely and utterly taking the piss out of our enemies. Now, to be fair, when you're a pre-made, that's not that difficult, right? But still, it was, yeah, we won pre-mades most of the time, which is quite strange if you think about it. But this is the last screenshot that I have of Classic, and it's just, yeah, there we go. Grand Marshal. That's what I came to do. Mcmana was made for this, you know. The reason he has the pink hair, the reason he has the pink eyes was simply because it would match this very armor set. This was planned out to a T. Overall, you know, I bitch a lot about Classic, and yeah, it was nothing like WoW was back in the day. Discord ruined a lot of it, Reddit ruined a lot of it, streamers ruined a lot of it, Blizzard being crap ruined a lot of it, the fact that the game was out for like, what, 16 years ruined a lot of it, right? Like, it was never going to be the same, but it was an alright experience. Like, it did have entertaining times. It's just a shame that the average person who played the game is a complete and utter degenerate. You know, that's quite sad. You know, if I could make a time machine and go back to 2007, I would, like, instantly. And I would probably just keep doing that over and over and over again until I'm withered away, because yeah, the world, ever since I would say around 2012, when that science experiment happened, yeah, it's not been the same. Everyone's been losing their mind since 2012. 2012 was the year, folks. Put that on your calendar. 2012. Before 2012, we were in a different Earth, a different universe. Just thought I'd let you know. By the way, you know, I know this is a WoW screenshot video, but I just thought I'd let you know that the world actually did end in 2012. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Nice little glimpse into my screenshots and raw gameplays folder. And to all of you who are going to play TBC Classic, that releases in just a few days' time at the time I'm recording this, good luck. You're going to need it.